Hey guys, what's up? My name is Handog CDXX, and today, guys, I am bringing you an Italian civil war battle. Yes, guys, that's right. Today we have the Republic of Venice facing off against the Kingdom of Sicily, and the scenario that we have in place today is that the Sicilian forces are invading Venice. However, the Venetian forces have decided to sally out and meet them at this nice defensible river crossing position. Now, guys, these two factions are fairly evenly matched and they can bring pretty much the same unit roster. However, the Sicilian forces have brought a slightly stronger army. So, guys, this should be a close one, and I hope you enjoy. So, guys, here we are with the Venetian general and a couple of units of his cavalry just moving into position as the Sicilian forces get ready to come and attack. But yeah, guys, if we just pop up and take a look at the army compositions, we've still got a couple of minutes before the fighting kicks off. So if we take a look over at the Venetian forces first, so we've got a couple of units of this Cavalier inside the tree line waiting for a good chance to strike in case the Sicilians manage to push through the centre, manage to push through the river crossing. So they're looking pretty epic with a swan on his sigil there. Looking pretty cool, that. I do love that. So yeah, 2 units of those Cavalier there. And then we've got 4 units of this Free Company Longbowmen. The reason I bought them is they actually have a range of 200, which is better than most other archers. So I'm going to be able to use the range advantage pretty effectively. And then over at the front line as well, we have 4 units of these Lancia Sargenti of the late period. This was a very high money battle, so we are going to see some nice variation in some, really heavily armored units. But yeah, these massive shields, they're going to be able to form a nice shield wall to prevent the enemy from crossing. And then we've also got 2 units of these Free Company Foot. So again, we can expect them to be fairly good in combat. There is only 90 of them in the unit. However, just look at these guys here. Look at the helmets that they wear. They're definitely ready to go. And then in the centre as well, we've got some high period Fanti de Mar. And I brought these just because they look absolutely amazing. Look at the war hammers that they're carrying as well, guys. They're definitely going to do a lot of damage if they get into melee. They have shorter shields than the rest of the infantry, but they should still be able to inflict some damage. And then in behind those, we've got some Foot Condottieri, which is only medium polearm infantry, but they're going to do a lot of damage if they can get a nice charge off. So I've brought 4 units of those. And then in behind, we've got 3 units of the Peschieri of the high period, just to help support this flank if we need to have a bit of pike versus pike action going on. Over on the other side, I'm actually going to turn it onto slow motion just before all of the fighting kicks off. In the centre over here, we've got 2 more units of Cavalier. Again, just looking pretty epic. There's another swan guy over there. Can we see any more funny sigils? Not all of these actually have shields, which is pretty cool as well. Usually every single unit has a shield, so it's nice to actually see that. And then in behind, we've got the general, which is the Doge of Venice. So he has come out himself to defend this this battle. Here he is as well, with his little Santa hat on, with his Santa beard as well. Oh god, he looks fairly funny. Wow, I've never noticed that before, but yeah, he looks absolutely insane. Anyway, so let's move over to this side of the battle. And the rules were for this side is we were only allowed 12 units of infantry. Your cavalry didn't count, but only 12 units of infantry were allowed on this side. So for my 12, I have 4 units of Excusati Guard, which again, they're a bit like the Lancia Sargenti. I believe they are slightly less armoured, and yet still should be okay. I wouldn't want to be these guys though without any the officer without a shield in the front. I would definitely not want to be him. He'll get taken apart by arrows very quickly. Looks like they're actually already moving up, so let's hurry this up. And in behind there we have 4 units of Spadaccini of the high period. So again, a little bit like the Fanti de Mar with shorter shields, but again should still be able to hold their own in combat. And then behind them we have, oh sorry guys, Behind them we have 2 units of the Piscieri of the late period, so these are more highly armoured than the Piscieri of the high period over on the flank, so hopefully I'll be able to hold the flank better on this side with just 2 units rather than 3. But yeah, that's pretty much the Venetian army. Oh yeah, I forgot these units. We've got 2 more units of condottieri in the tree line, so they're a little bit different to the other cavalry that we've brought, looking a little bit more heavily armoured, so that's why we've only managed to afford 2 of them. But yeah, they should do some nice damage. No swans in this unit though. But anyway, let's quickly put it on pause because the Sicilian is starting to move his troops. And let's just go over his army really quickly. So again, we're probably going to have a lot of similar units, seeing as they are 2 Italian factions. So on this side, we've got some more Lancia Sargenti, and then some for Condottieri in the back as well. He's also bringing a lot more Lancia Sargenti for the front lines, and then he's bringing some Spadaccini of the late period. So this Spadaccini will be able to beat mine in one-on-one combat. However, it should be a nice choke point battle, so I should be able to hold them back. Yeah, so we've got 2 more units of Spadaccini there, and then also 2 units of this archery of the late period. So they're very highly armoured, however, they do have a slow rate of fire. So hopefully I'll be able to take them out. However, I've only got crossbows on this flank, so he will have the range advantage over on this flank, which is a shame, but I will have it over on the other flank. So looking at his army on the main flank, well, the bulk of the army are all on this flank. So looking at this side, he's also bringing some Piscieri to the battle. So again, we should have some nice pike versus pike action. He's bringing a lot more Lancia Sargenti again. All of the late period, so he's not mixing it up with any Excusati Guard or anything like that, just Lancia Sargenti. And then we've got 2 more units of Piscieri over on this flank as well. And then he's also got 2 units of Ballesterie on this flank, or make that 3 actually. And then he's brought another unit of archery over onto this flank. I hope I'm pronouncing these correctly. And he's got 2 more units of Spadaccini of the late period. And I believe this is more for Condottieri. Yes, it is. And another unit of Piscieri in behind. And then for his cavalry, he's got the King of Naples over here. So this isn't actually the general. Looks like he's just brought an extra king to help him out with morale. Looks like this is a pretty full-on invasion, and they've also got the support of the Neapolitans as well. That's the way to say it. So yeah, there he is right there. Look at his face, guys. He is looking absolutely intimidating. Would not want to square off against them in battle. But yeah, there's him in his nice blue coats as well, which look pretty imperial. Then over here, we've got some Sicilian nobles, and I believe there's some more Sicilian nobles over on this flank as well. Oh no, so we've actually got some Aragonese nobles over there. Thought they were Sicilians. But we actually have another king, so we've got the King of Sicily, and again, he still is not the general. So we've got the King of Naples, the King of Sicily, and another King of Sicily. I guess we can say this is the prince, the high period prince, and then this is the, I don't know why he's brought loads of kings, but it's going to be a cool battle nonetheless. So he's brought some mounted condottieri as well, rather than his foot condottieri. And again, these Aragonese nobles and some Jean de Cheval as well. These are pretty nice, I believe, French mercenaries. Well, they're definitely in the French roster. I don't know if these are mercenaries. I think they've got the French sigil there, so I'm guessing that they are. But anyway, guys, that pretty much sums up the army compositions. So let's go ahead and start off the battle. So guys, I am the defender in this battle, but I'm not just going to sit back completely, and I'm not just going to hold both of the choke points easily, just because it would be too much of a choke point, which is why we split the forces to have most of the army on this side, and then less of it on this side, just to give a bit more variation in the battle, rather than just having loads of units fight it out. So it looks like we've got the Sicilian sending up his Lancia Sargenti first. And they're going to get ready to push across the river. Looks like we're getting some archers moving closer as well, maybe to try and get some shots off. I don't know if these are in range of my Free Company longbowmen yet. I believe I am moving them up over there. Yes, I am, to fire on them. I don't think we're in range yet, but we will be soon. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's some volleys coming in. And we probably won't be doing too much damage just because these are very highly armoured crossbowmen. And we're only using archers as well, which have a less missile damage. However, we'll start to whittle them down, especially if I use the range advantage. Yeah, you can see he is pushing them forward to get into range, which is why I'm pulling them, my archers back slightly just out of their range. Looks like he's actually going to push his crossbows across the river. Keeping an eye over on that side as well. Not much is actually going on. But he's going to start pushing them across the river, and I'm going to just unleash an absolute hail of arrows from all of my 4 archer units over on this side. Again, not dealing too much damage, but definitely taking out some of the hit points. These archers want to be careful. They're not actually being supported by any infantry, and they are getting fairly close to my line. And yet you can see I'm sending up some fancy damar at the moment. I believe just 2 units to scare the crossbows off, and that is going to give us a chance to shoot these units in the back. However, you can see they are carrying the Pavy shields on their back, but we did just take out a couple of them. I think they've lost maybe 5 or 6 men, but yeah, they are absorbing a lot of the ammo on the shields on their back, so not many of them are going to fall. It looks like now that I've actually told my fancy damar to run back, they're going to turn around and get a shot off. Oh, that's going to be devastating. Yeah, it looks like they've just taken out about 20 men. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have turned them around like this. I'm quickly trying to get them behind my spearmen, so the spears can absorb the ammo. And I believe my archers are now firing again. But yeah, let's just take a look at how many men I lost from that. Just this unit taken 36 casualties, which isn't too bad. However, definitely not necessary. But we did need to scare them off. And I didn't want them to just do what they're doing now and just kind of sit here and just fire on us without us being able to do anything. And yet they've taken away the ranged advantage now again, so I'm going to keep pulling back my archers. And I'm sending up the Free Company footmen now as well, from both flanks to scare them off. However, I believe we're going to see some of the larger Lancia Sargente moving up now as well. Yes, they are. I don't know if we're actually going to get these crossbows stuck in combat. No, it looks like they are actually going to pull back just in time. Yeah, so they're going to pull back just in time. I don't think we're going to get to them. So what I'm actually going to do with these sword units is continue to push forward and set up a nice defensive line against these spearmen. And we're going to see the first infantry clash over here as well. Here we go. So the spearmen moving up nice and slowly in the water, but they are actually going to get a bit of a flank off on my Free Company footmen, and they definitely outnumber my men at the moment as well. So what I'm going to be doing very shortly is sending up some more infantry to support this line. I do not want them to break through, but you can see the absolute horde of Sicilians just pouring across. Probably only about 3 or 4 units so far, but they will be reinforcing very soon with a couple more units. This unit's just staying out of the combat for now. No, it's decided to actually push in, which I don't know if that's actually necessarily a good idea, because my Free Company footmen against all these spears, they're not actually taking too much damage, because spears are mainly just you know, good for absorbing hits, but not really good for getting many kills. So my swords won't be getting too many kills, but they also won't be losing too many men, which is really nice, because we are able to send up some more infantry to hold their spearmen. Over on the other flank though, we've started a little bit of a skirmish. So I've pushed up my crossbows to get into range of their archers, and luckily for me, over on this side, the Sicilians haven't pulled back their archers, which is nice for me, because it means even though I'm still taking hits from their archers, I am getting hits off on theirs as well. Whereas on the other flank, I managed to pull back my archers so that they're not in range of his crossbows. So yeah, that's going fairly well. We have lost a few men. However, we're starting to whittle down the archery's ammo and also the men in the unit as well. And I think the Sicilian player has noticed that, so he's going to again push forward his Lancia Sargente as well as some of his Spadaccini. And it's going to be a pretty nice slaughter field for my men to just sit there and make pop shots at them. I am going to be forced to pull back my crossbows very soon though. As you can see, the Spadaccini are getting really close for comfort, starting to charge, and looks like we're actually going to lose a few of the crossbowmen. However, not too many of them should get lost.
Our ambush troops have been detected.
Think that was some of the cavalry getting spotted. But over here, I'm pushing forward my Excusati Guard. I do believe it is on this side, yes. And I was planning on putting these guys into Testudo, but you'll see in a moment that I didn't actually think about it, and I didn't get them into Testudo in time. And yeah, they got a really nice charge off on my spears, getting a fair amount of kills. I do notice that though over on the other flank, so I managed to get those 2 units into a Testudo, but these 2 units aren't going to manage to get into it. So what I'm going to have to do is reinforce with my Spadaccini to bolster the lines, just because I would have liked to just hold in a Testudo, but I didn't manage to get into it. So what I decided to do is pull back the spears into a new formation. So you can see we've got a bit of a ragged line at the moment, but that was definitely worth it, because we've managed to get them into Testudo just before the Condottieri managed to get into combat with us, which has definitely given us a boost to our defense. So you can see it, not many kills getting hit on us. Looks like this guy's pushing forward into the line. Well, I don't know if he got a kill there or if he just ashed the shield. Oh, this guy just went flying. I hope he's going to get back up. His shield's still moving. Yeah, so he is going to get back up and continue to fight on. Let's see how he does. He's definitely out of position, surrounded by a few enemies. Here comes some more Lancia Sargente, and I'm sure he's not going to last too long out of position. He's absolutely surrounded. But it just shows how good these units are at holding the line, even when they're completely surrounded. But no, there he goes, flying. Just whacked with a sword and goes flying off the field. But you can see over here we've got a little bit of a problem. There was a little bit of a gap for the enemy Condottieri to pull through. However, I mobilised my cavalry in the trees, and he did notice that, so he decided not to pull through. And now he's left his cavalry in this nice area, and I'm bringing up my crossbows, which are going to be shooting into the rear of these Condottieri. You can see the range line coming up now, so we're about to see a nice volley. Let's stick around for that. And I wonder how many men will die to this. Here we go, we're all in range now. He is going to try and move them. Ooh, but yeah, we only took out a few of them, but that was definitely a nice volley. And he is going to try and push through over on this flank as well. However, I've caught him up with some of my Jean de Cheval, which was sitting around with my general. And yet we've also got the Ballisteri on this side fighting as well. Firing into the ranks of their men, which are all kind of in disarray at the moment. I am having a little bit of trouble over on this flank. However, there was a little bit of a gap for my cavalry to sneak through, and I believe I am going to push them through. I'm also sending one round the flank as well. And yeah, guys, here we go. The cavalry is coming through. I'm not too sure which direction they're going to go. Looks like they're going to come and meet with the enemy cavalry as well. This guy's ran off on his own. Don't know where he's going. But yeah, guys, managed to get a really nice charge off there. They did the counter charge. However, we do have a second unit of cavalry over here, which is able to save this routing unit of Spadaccini and get some nice rear charges into their late period Spadaccini and their spears as well. We still have our pikemen over here, which aren't getting too many kills, just hold them back. Over on this side, I've had to commit my Piscieri to hold back this horde of cavalry just to support my own cavalry. And then if we go back over to the other side, we actually haven't took a look there in a while. So it looks like the Free Company footmen broke, but they did come back. And in the meantime, I did send up some Lancia Sargenti to support. And I'm also just pushing in some pikemen as we speak. Let's see, as they get their pikes down, they should. Yeah, the pikes are just sticking out of the front of the spearmen. That's definitely going to help us there to fend them off. We've got the defense of the spears and the defense of the pikes, so we shouldn't be losing too many men.
The enemy have rallied their
And
units.
we should be able to hold them for a fairly long time. However, as I was saying before, the Sicilians have absolutely funneled about 60% of their force that was on this side just straight into the choke point. And I've only engaged 5 units so far into that melee combat, and I've still got, you know, about 15 left to spare. So I've got a lot more reserves than the Sicilian does, but I guess he's trying to punch a hole nice and quickly so that he can get round to kill another flank. You can see he's actually redeployed a lot of his cavalry onto this flank as well. So I actually went and matched that. So I sent over another unit from over here. I believe there's only 1 unit of Cavalier over in that side and at the moment, because we don't really need it at the moment. So I'm sending over this other unit of Cavalier to try and help hold off the enemy on this side. As you can see, my cavalry is just about to break. So I'm pulling my crossbows out of position. They are taking some fire arrows, but that shouldn't really be taking out too many of my men. And I'm just deciding where to send these Cavalier as well, just because the pikes are holding here, so I don't really want to knock my own pikes to the ground. We still have the spears, which have held fairly well now that I've got them all into a testudo. And yeah, guys, over on this side, we have wrapped up the flank for this side of the battle. So I'm now able to push forward my spears and my cavalry into his cavalry. And also get this fresh unit of Spadaccini. Well, it's not fresh, but it's fairly healthy, about half strength. We were able to get them round the flank as well. And yeah, you can see an absolute mass rout over on this side. I've also got the general over here as well, providing moral support. But mainly just here because of the presence of the enemy cavalry in case we needed to put the general into combat. But yeah, as you can see now, there's an absolute mass rout over on this side for the Sicilians.
From the enemy.
Mass rout for the Sicilians, guys. So we have pretty much wrapped up this flank. However, they're getting a nice catch on my crossbows over here, pretty much taking most of them out. So I've decided to send in the general. He is going to get straight into combat with the condottieri, and hopefully he can hold off the enemy cavalry long enough to break them so that our crossbows can actually survive. I believe I'm also sending over some spears to reinforce the general as well. Yeah, we've got some of the Escusati Guard moving over. They should be running in to help the general soon enough.
The men are running, cowards!
It's pretty easy to tell who's who. So my general is the red and orange, and the Sicilians are in the silver-plated armor. And you can see that the Sicilians are definitely outnumbered in this combat, as we got a really nice charge off on them. So a lot of condottieri are laying dead on the floor, and the general is just going to mop up the remainder of these units. Over here, we've actually got some more pikemen which return, and we've sent them. Oh no, sorry, these are the crossbows. I actually left them in combat, but the general has not even lost a single man in that charge, so he's absolutely wrecked that unit of cavalry, which is really good to see. So at this point, it looks like we have completely won this flank. He was trying to pull back some archer units, however there's not really much he can do at this point, so I'm just going to charge them with some of my spearmen. He is going to try and get some last minute pot shots on me, and I'm also just sending this cavalry into the trees as well, because I wasn't sure if he had hidden any units in the trees. Wanted to make sure of that. But he has managed to save a couple of units of his cavalry. He did manage to get those out. But over on this side again, I'm still just holding with these 2 units of Lancia Sargenti and this unit of Piscieri. And that's definitely going to be winding the Sicilian player up, because he knows that he's making all of his units attack a single choke point, and he's just getting held back by 3 or maybe even just 4 units. And that's definitely going to be getting on his nerves, so he's going to continue to try and push through. As you can see, he's pushing up more of his pikemen to try and break up my ranks. But at this point, I think the main issue that the Sicilian player has at the moment is that he brought so many spear units that he's not really able to deal enough damage to my units, just because, as I said before, spears are better at, defensive uh, what was I going to say? They're better at defending rather than attacking. Whereas he's not brought too many of the Spadaccini. If he'd have brought more of them, he would have possibly broken through this line a lot more quickly. And yet you can see I'm actually starting to push forward the rest of my infantry at this point. My only concern at the moment is that most of my archers are out of ammo, and he still has about 4 units with pretty much full ammo, even though they've only got about half of the men left in their units. I do have some ammo left in my crossbows over here as well, though, so they're going to continue to move around. My only problem now as well with this flank is he's got a lot of the halberds and the pikemen just waiting for my units over here. So they're just going to hold in a pike wall and just get ready for my cavalry to come and charge onto them. However,
The men are running! Stand and fight, damn
something
you!
that the Sicilian player failed to see is that these halberds are not defensive halberds, they are aggressive halberds, so they can't actually form any kind of pike wall or anything, any kind of spear wall, so they're going to be really susceptible to cav charges. So that's something he didn't notice, and he does only have 2 units of spears protecting his flank. He does have all of his cavalry here though, ready to engage if necessary. However, they are outnumbered to my cavalry. I've got about 4 units over on that side, and he only has 3, including his general. My general is just chilling over here, just watching the battle. He's had his nice share of kills, 35 kills for his unit on those Sicilian horsemen. And at this point, again, just set some more archers, and but at this point I've still not used most of this infantry. I've lost a few men of the Fanti from
The enemy
crossbow
have
fire,
rallied their units!
but yeah, we have a lot of reserve left, so it definitely looks like it's going to be an easy victory for the Venetians over here. However, there is still 7 minutes left in the battle. The man count, let's take a look at that. So we started off pretty even, only 20 man difference. I was outnumbered by 20 men. However, it is down it's down to 4. I'm sure you can see it. I can't even think what I'm saying at the moment. But anyway, let's not miss that charge. It's 4,000 to 2,000 men. But we have the charge coming in from my cavalry. And you can see they just go straight through this unit. And we've got more cavalry coming in on all sides. And that is just going to absolutely wreck those 2 units of foot condottieri. As you can see, the enemy cavalry has realised, and I think he was expecting those halberds to do much better. We've got another nice charge off over on this side, and I was kind of baiting him to think that I was going to charge his pikes just to keep them into position, and then I got a nice rear charge off over here. Well, at least I tried to get one. I think that cavalry unit actually routed. I did get some of my cavalry in behind their pike line though, so that is going to affect their morale as they are outflanked. This cavalry unit over here, they're probably going to get teared apart by the enemy pikemen and the enemy general. However, I am managing to sneak through a unit of cavalry over here to break this sword unit, and then I'm going to go straight into the back of the pikemen. I'm also sending in some of my Excusati guard into the front of the pike so that they can't turn around to face the cavalry. And I'm starting to funnel all of my infantry through the gaps in the lines at this time. Again though, they still have a lot of infantry over here, and he has turned around a unit of spears to prevent me from getting a nice cav charge. So I'm going to go into the sides of these units, try and catch up a lot of his pike units and his crossbows, just to stop him from using them effectively. But over here he's got what looks like another unit of foot condottieri trying to get a nice charge off, but the crossbows are focusing them down. And this is not going to be a good story for these. Yeah, you can see they're running away straight away. More shots into the back. That's not going to be good for those guys. No, definitely not. I would not want to be one of those. If I went into battle, I definitely want a shield. I'd like to be, one of those Pavis spearmen for sure. That would be my pick. But yeah, over here I've actually had to form a square formation with the Scusati Guard as it was about to be outflanked. You can see he's
Our
got
men are
about 3
breaking
or
off.
4 units of spearmen coming over to help this flank out, and he's still got a few units over on that flank. But at this point, I haven't used any of my infantry at the moment, so I'm just pulling all of my fancy damar along the side. Does have a very thin line over here, but we're just overwhelming it with the cavalry. There's absolutely nothing to hold them back, and the cavalry is just going to pour through with the general as well. We've got the fancy damar holding the line over here to stop the
The men are
spears
running.
from catching our
Cowards.
cavalry, and I'm also sent through all of the foot condottieri as well to make sure they get into combat, and some of the pike units as well. So at this point, guys, it is looking like it's going to be a pretty decisive victory for the Venetians. However, the only problem is all of my units in the back lines are now pretty
Enemy
much
units have
outnumbered.
rallied and the enemy are losing their advantage.
I only managed to send, I think, 12 units around this way, and you can see it's just wrapping it up. We do have the pikes forming up in a nice square formation
Our
as well,
forces have found their
so
courage.
they're going to
Back
be
to
able
the
to hold
fight.
the enemy off, as well as the spearmen in a square as well, so they're going to hold for a fairly long time. You can see he is going to try to charge in some of his swordsmen, but they're just going to pretty much rout straight away or maybe pull back. We've got some more cavalry pushing through over here as well. Going to get a nice charge on his crossbows. Oh yeah, just running straight through. He is going to meet me with some of his cavalry as well, though. Oh, that was a nice attack over there. He went straight into him. But yeah, guys, sorry about the lag. It
Our
seems they've
men
got a lot
flee
more
the
laggy
field of
over
battle.
here.
This is a shameful display.
But let's actually stick it into slow motion real quick just to try and resolve the lag issue. I think that's a routing unit to cav over there. Let's take a look at some of the fighting in the main lines, though. We haven't really taken much look at that. So yeah, it is mostly just a pike versus pike action over here. You can see just the line of pikes on both sides just preventing that. You've got men trying to push through. I would definitely not try to push through any of these pikes. You'd probably get stabbed in the back by your own friendly forces if you tried to go that way. Yeah, that wouldn't be a good choice. So we do have men falling left and right now that everyone's starting to get tired. However, over on this side, I believe we've got some fresh units of foot condottieri pushing
Our
in.
men return to the fight.
There should be some nice killing going on over here as well. Yeah, the condottieri is just walking into them. They're not even bothered. They're just pushing through. I think we're just trying to outflank them at this point. Yeah, we've got all of my men pushing around the flanks. Oh, that guy just lost his head. The river is going to run red. Oh no, that was... Sorry about the rhyme, guys. Yeah, but we've got all of the men pushing through now. Ooh, chopped his head off with a mace. That must have been one good swing. He's just lost his head again with a nice hit from his axe. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of decapitations over here from the foot condottieri. They are definitely specialists at decapitation. And yeah, as you can see, we've got the nice line of men in behind the pikes, and there's not much that they can do at this point. They are completely outflanked. And guys, this is going to pretty much wrap the battle up over here. Let's just get it back on to normal speed. Oh yeah, that guy, not all of the foot condottieri are faring too well, though. We still have some Lancia Sargente back here, which are going to hold the line fairly effectively for a few minutes. I think he's probably turned a couple of units around at this point as well. But yeah, you can just hear all of these shields clashing against the halberds, or halberds clashing against the shields rather. And yeah, so many men just dying in this one little choke point. You can see that I am starting to lose a lot of men, and over on this flank I have pretty much lost most of my units that managed to flank round. I am now sending the general over though. The Doge of Venice is flanking round just to get final cavalry charge into the back if possible. But the King of Sicily of the late period is still alive. I don't know about the other kings. I think all of the other kings are actually dead at this point. which is a shame. So 2 kings are dead, 1 more to go, and if we can manage to kill the King of Sicily, we will be able to break this entire force.
Our men return to the fight!
Only 50 seconds left in the battle. The general is probably going to miss out on a nice charge at the end though. But we can see the general over here getting too close to my foot condottieri, and they're going to charge into him. And yeah, he's just been routed, and there goes the spears as well. So as you can see, just a massive mass rout over on this battlefield. We've got 25 seconds of the battle left. The general's just coming over, making sure that we rout these last units. But before this battle ends, guys, let's just go ahead and take a look at all of the deaths.
A unit is running from the
This whole
enemy!
side of the battle is just littered with bodies, even on the river crossing as well. And all over the back over here as well, we got some really nice cav charges. But that is going to wrap that battle up, guys, and it was a really close one. If he'd just managed to hold the back line a little bit better with some pike units rather than those foot condottieri, he probably would have been able to stop me from flanking him, and he may have been able to defeat most of my units that managed to cross the river. And then he would have had a lot better chance at, you know, fighting me 1 versus 1 in the river crossing. But yeah, guys, I hope you did enjoy that. Let's take a look at the battle and at the kills. Okay, guys, so taking a look, we've got the Excusati Guard doing fairly well. We did lose most of those units as they did try and flank round. The Lancia Sargente, they were holding the line a lot. I think only 2 of those units were in combat for the most of the battle. Yeah, these 2 were in combat. The other 2 didn't really get involved much. But yeah, only 70 and 40 kills for them. As I say, they don't get too many, but just holding the line. I'm surprised those spears did so well. I guess it was against all of the cavalry. Some of these pike units, though, oh my god, 435 kills. This one getting 224. Not all of them getting used effectively. Again, I think I only put 1 unit of these pikes into combat. The other 2 didn't really get involved much. And then looking at the rest of the swords, doing okay. Fancy Damara again didn't get involved until very late game. All of the archers doing fairly well, and the crossbows getting about 100 kills between all of them, or 100 kills each even. And all of my cavalry, apart from this one, getting a fairly substantial amount of kills as well. 339, 270. So yeah, that's really nice to see. So for Han's army, so he was the Sicilian, thanks Han for playing. He brought an absolute ton of Lancia Sargente, which I honestly think was probably his downfall, seeing as he was the attacking player, and you know, they don't really push through enemy lines too well. However, he did hold a long time with them. His Piscieri brought a fair amount of those, doing fairly well. A few of them not doing too well, as they were at the back of the battle at the end when I managed to flank them. So yeah, they not really holding up to their money just due to that flank. And if we look at the foot condottieri as well, those units that got charged at the end just did absolutely nothing. Maybe a few of them got a few kills beforehand, but a lot of them just getting wrecked. Definitely not paying for themselves. They're about 900 funds each, I do believe. And even still, his Spadaccini just not managing to push through my pipeline, just getting absolutely ripped apart. And his archers, again, not doing too well. I think that was mainly due to my range superiority, and just the fact that my crossbows, when I got my crossbows into range of his archers, he didn't actually pull them back. His crossbows, again, not getting a few kills, not really paying for themselves, definitely not this one. And his cavalry, all of the kings did fairly well, which is nice to see. I do believe. Oh, hang on, where's the other king? Yeah, so his general did really well. And then, well, not the King of Sicily of Iberia didn't do too well. The King of Naples did okay. That's mainly though because again he pushed all of his cavalry through that point, through the the smaller side of the battle, and they just got absolutely wrecked by my cavalry and my pikemen and spears. But yeah, guys, that was a pretty epic battle. I really enjoyed playing that. So to Hound, thanks for playing. I'd love to have another battle with you again. If anyone else wants to have a battle with me on Total War, just leave your Steam name in the comment section below and I'll get back to you on that. But yeah, guys, I hope you did enjoy this episode. If you did, make sure to drop a like on the video. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. But until next time, my name is Hamdog, and I'll see you later.
And I feel it running through my veins, and I need that fire just to know that I